What's up, YouTube? It's your girl Nikki, and I'm back. And I got a little story time today. I just wanted to talk about, some of the experiences that I've been through in my life. And, that's pretty much mainly was what my channel is for, tell my story and inspire others, show you guys that we all probably different, but we all go through the same things in life, dealing with people. Um, but I would say this story time is about when you all my life I've probably had one or two friends, but mainly I've been around family. I've always hung around my family, and I mean that was what I was pretty much comfortable with. Um, so I would say fast forward. I'm not hanging with friends. I'm just pretty much hanging around my family. I done met my husband and I got cousins that, people that rhyme with us and like us and, family mainly. And so this one particular cousin, like me and him wasn't around each other a lot in the past because he was like in and out of jail and stuff like that. But once he found this the woman that he's married to now, pretty much settled down, had kids, whatever. He got more kids, but he settled down with this woman. So, coming back around and like hanging out we started well, I would say first he started doing stuff like for the 4th of July, having things at his house. Then I got another cousin that used to do it. So like when the holidays, just rotate and be at each other's houses and hang with each other and pretty much be family. Well, so I had no problem with them. All my cousins are pretty much older than me. I was the youngest, and I had no problem with my cousin. Like he was cool, whatever. And he was real cool with my husband. Him and my husband previously knew each other, but they never hung with each other until I met my husband, and then they started to hang tight. So well, like I don't know if I've ever mentioned that, but I am married. Well, of course, I mentioned that I'm married, but my husband is part time military, so he's part time National Guard Reserve, and there were times where he left, went overseas, and and I wouldn't see my cousin. Like I would only see him pretty much when my husband was home, which was fine with me because it wasn't like that me and him had this just close relationship before um meeting my husband. Like me and him wasn't just close. I knew he was my cousin, he was cool, whatever, but I just never hung around him. But so like I said, fast forward, like my husband go overseas, I wouldn't see him and stuff like that. So this particular time, I would say probably about 2 years ago, my cousin um bought a house, and I'm happy for him. I'm always happy for my family. Like I never feel any kind of way. You know what I'm saying? What God has for people is for them, and what God has for me is for me. So he bought a house, whatever. And like I said, I was happy for him. And but when he bought the house. And my husband was home, but then my husband went overseas. So while my husband was overseas, we was living in this apartment, and I used to tell my husband like I used to buy stuff for my house before I had the house, before I knew where I was moving to. I mean, that was just me because I knew we was going to eventually move out the apartment. So I just used to buy stuff and I wouldn't open it until we moved into a house. So I had dishes, like home material stuff, like all kind of little stuff. And so like I said, my cousin bought his house first. They got their house first. Um And so while my husband was overseas, he told me to go looking for a home. I said, okay. So he signed me up with a realtor and everything like that. And, we put a rich went around. I looked at like 6, 7 homes, and it was this home that had this big kitchen island. The stove was in the island. It was just, oh, I loved that house. But it was more than what we wanted to pay. So it was like right at our budget. And then when it comes to buying homes, you can put in for, but you got other people that might, bid more than you on the home. So it's really up to you if you want to keep bidding more, or you don't want to go over your budget. So we didn't want to go over our budget, so we let that home go. So then, the home that we're in now, I saw it, but when I first saw it, the grass wasn't cut, like it wasn't appealing. It wasn't too appealing to me. Well, I went and looked at the other house and other house. I mean, I just looked at a lot of different houses, and so it was like a time frame that we had to choose the home because of how my husband was getting the house. And so the lady was like, you gotta hurry up, make a choice, or what I'm saying, you're gonna be out your time frame of choosing a home. So I came back to the house that I'm in now, and the grass was cut, and it was more appealing to me because it was an open floor plan. Which, when I watch home renovations and stuff like that, everything right now is open for floor plans, open floor plans. And it had we was looking for at least a 3 bedroom or 4 bedroom. This one has 4 bedroom and 2 full bath. The bath, we have a stand up shower in our bedroom, and then we got the tub and the shower and the hallway bathroom. Well, for everybody, whatever, whatever. So fast forward, what I'm saying, we bought our house. So my cousin, he was around, congratulating us. First, then nobody know that I was actually looking for a house. It was just my sister. I told her not to tell anybody. So once we finally sat and stone the house and everything like that, I needed some paperwork printed off. So I had the paperwork printed off, whatever, whatever, by my aunt. And she read it, of course, read the paperwork because it was like the deed and stuff like that. And well, it wasn't a deed, it was paperwork that you had, like closing paperwork and stuff like that. So she saw it, and of course she told people, what I'm saying, which was fine, but I just didn't tell nobody about what I was doing. And then up until that point, that's when people knew that we was, moving and buying a home. So, what I'm saying? So when my cousin found out, hey, come, oh, Nikki, I heard that you know what I'm saying, y'all getting a home. I said, yeah. He was like, I mean, I ain't said y'all ain't heard said that to me and whatever, whatever. My husband overseas. My cousin really don't even talk to me like that. So it's like, when my husband overseas, like, I barely see him. So I'm like, I didn't necessarily have to, but yes, we are. You know what I'm saying? I did find a home. So, and then it was little stuff like people, I seen your home, because of course she told them the address, whatever. She probably came and looked at it herself and stuff like that. And so people was riding by looking at it before we even moved in. So I would say fast forward. We don't move inside. My cousin bought his house. We got our house. So, he was coming around. My husband came home from overseas. Everything was all good, all gravy. He coming over, we chilling and stuff like that. He actually did. He helped us move in, but the thing was, I asked my brother. My brother works for a moving company, but my brother works out of town. And when I told him that we was moving, he was like, well, I'll help you move. But he would have to come and he'll have to bring somebody. But when he got here, he didn't bring anybody. So we ended up having to ask somebody else to help move, which was my cousin. So he helped us move in and stuff like that. And I can't say that he hasn't done certain little things to help us out, um, throughout like the journey, throughout our life or whatever, whatever, throughout me and my husband being together. But he hasn't done anything to where I couldn't, or we couldn't get to a point where we could handle it ourselves. Like if we go through something, I don't know the conversation because it's always between him and my husband. Like I don't never really hardly go to him and ask him. I don't think I ever really remember just asking him for anything. But if we was ever found ourselves, me and my husband would find ourselves in a bind, he would probably ask my cousin because they was closer. I never went to my cousin. They was man to man business. And I can remember one time my cousin did ask me for some money, and he was bringing me back the money. And my husband was like, hey, if you're going to ask somebody for some money, ask me. Don't ask my wife. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? I like that. So they had that bond. They created that bond. And so fast forward, like I said, we moved into our home. Well, 4th of July was coming around. I hadn't really had any cookouts or anything where all my family came. It was just pretty much my husband's side because my family is they real funny acting and stuff like that. They really, they congratulate you, but they ain't really gonna hang around you or just act like they just so happy for you. Girl, yeah. It ain't gonna be none of that. You know what I'm saying? So 4th of July was coming around. I made it my business to go to my cousin and say, cuz, 4th of July coming up, we want to host 4th of July at our home. The first thing he said, y'all, no lie. Oh, well, I believe when I see it. Okay. You'll believe it when you see it. Okay, that's the first thing he said, no lie. So I was kind of baffled and I was like, well, we're going to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, okay, whatever. So fast forward, like maybe a week later or whatever, we used to have family night with my husband and his family. And my folks was invited, but they don't really hang around each other. So they never came. Well, one time a cousin did, but other than that, we too busy butting head and want to be my folks. It's too busy butting heads and want to be better than the next, where they can't really come together and try to have actually a family because everybody is trying to make it for themselves and want to be better than the next. That's just what it is. So but we had a family night, and so because I went to him and we was talking about the 4th of July and stuff like that. He was like, well, I'm gonna do something for the 4th of July too. I'm gonna do it at my house, you know what I'm saying, invite a couple people and stuff like that. And I was, huh? Well, we're a part of the same family. So if you invite family to your house, like, to me, if you wanted to do something, we could have just did it together. Why you gotta try to have something when I'm having something? Like, it was so totally confused to me, y'all, because honestly, I had never experienced this before. When we lived in our apartment, people used to come to our house every Friday. Like, after, other things happened and everybody started doing things at their homes, our apartment was the meetup spot every Friday, every Friday, every Friday. People came over, we didn't even invite them. You know what I'm saying? But they used to come every Friday, every Friday, every Friday. And it was no problem, you know what I'm saying? Because they knew my husband, he's just going to sit and drink and play his game and stuff like that anyway. So, and that just became the thing that they did on Friday. So it was no problem. But for us to fast forward, move to our home, and now we want to have a 4th of July event at our home, and somebody who been around us, somebody who we went to when we needed them, vice versa, he's came to us when he needed us. Like, it was just confusing that he would say he's gonna have a 4th of July event when I already said, and was telling him because I wanted him to come to my event, that now he's having his own event on the same day. So I was like, well, you gonna have something on 4th of July? When I said something, well, I don't remember you said. I said, yes, I did. And then he was like, he said something, and I can't really remember what it was, but I just remember me telling him I don't have to prove anything to him. You know what I'm saying? Because I was doing it for everybody. It wasn't a competition thing. And I'm not the type of person that just like to host things at my house all the time. I'm not a hostess. Like, growing up, I used to go to everybody else's house. I never hosted anything at my home. The only reason why I wanted to do it that 4th of July, because I never hosted anything at my home. So we got a home and we want everybody to come, you know what I'm saying, at least once to see our home or whatever, enjoy, just have a family thing. Nobody else had said anything about 4th of July. So we made the decision to do it. Well, y'all, when I tell you, It seemed like that was the worst decision that I could ever make with dealing with this cousin, because he was so against it. It's like his true colors started to show. It's like he really started to show that he really wasn't for us in the beginning. Like, you was for us as long as you thought we was beneath you. But the moment we started to elevate in our life and in our marriage, it became a problem. So fast forward, me and my husband, we was at the movies one night, and he called us. And he was like, "Where y'all at? Whatever." So we were like, "We was at the movies." So he was like, "Well, I got another one of our cousins that had been that had been to our house." He was like, "I got cousins with me. Whatever. We gonna show up. We finna come over to the house. Whatever." I was like, "Okay." So we so we left the movies, rushing out the movie just to come home. Just, to invite, to see my cousin, whatever, my other cousin. But, to chill. Y'all, the man, he was already drinking when he came. Me and him started talking about things of the past. And, how he was close with my mom, but my mom was my mom. You know what I'm saying? She was a very nurturing person. She loved everybody. She didn't, discriminate against nobody. Whether you was her child, her niece, nephew, anybody, she was there. She showed love, honestly, to everybody. Well, he started talking about politics. He started talking about Trump. This before Trump got, reelected, whatever. He started talking about the politics. And I was like, he started off with that, and he was on one. And then next thing when he started talking about the family and everything he went through, and I was talking about the family and everything that I went through, but not downing anybody. Y'all, when I tell you this man got so mad. And me and him, I wasn't talking about anything that had to do with me and him, because I wasn't really around him. So it was no reason for me to bring up anything with me and him. It was just me bringing up my life and the things that I had been through. But he did not like that at all. When I tell you he ain't like that at all. This man started hitting my table, knocked over we were drinking. Had a little couple drinks, whatever, knocked over. He hit the table. The table is wood, but he hit it so hard the glasses bounced and fell over. So the liquor is all over the table and everything. Now, so me and my husband was sitting at the table. I was standing up. Me and my husband at one time went towards him like, "If you don't what is wrong with you? Like, you can get out. You ain't finna come over here and, destroy our home and act crazy, whatever." So he was backing up towards the door, and then next thing you know, he like kind of somewhat pushed my husband and all that. Like, the man really wanted to fight y'all. It was crazy. And then he left, whatever. So it was like a family chat that we had. So I went into the family chat, and I can't remember exactly what I was saying in the family chat. But my auntie ended up calling me. So within the midst of me posting something about you went to my auntie and started talking about, "Oh, Nikki ain't nothing. She wouldn't be nothing without Josh," and all this other stuff. Y'all, mind y'all. Let me tell you something. I probably didn't have it all, but I wasn't on the street. I don't have 4 different apartments. I lived that apartment that me and my husband had. I had that apartment before I even met my husband. It's just that in the midst of me and him getting together, he ended up moving in with me. My husband never had a place by himself. Before he met me, he always lived with somebody, or he lived with his mama. And at that time, he was living with his mama. Not saying that because he ain't had no kids or anything, so it's not like he just had to have his own place. But he didn't have his own place. So it's like he tried to, my folk tried to belittle me and say I wouldn't be anything without my husband. Like I was a piece of shit on the street and I was begging for change or something. That's just how, to me, he wanted to make me feel. And he went to my auntie and was telling my auntie called me and was telling me everything he said and stuff like that. And I'm like, I cannot believe this man really said all this stuff. You like, you've been coming to our home. You've been acting like you was for us this whole time. And the moment you feel like we elevating a little bit too much for you, you got mad. And you switched up. So, y'all, it's really more to the story because a lot of stuff happened even after that with just me and him messaging each other and stuff like that. But he never apologized for the things that he did. And we don't talk like that. We see each other, we speak, you know what I'm saying? I forgave him for it because I ain't gonna just hold no grudges with nobody because I know I didn't do anything to you, and I know your frustration came out of jealousy and envy, and like you just mad because at the time you thought you was doing something. God was blessing us also, you know what I'm saying? And you wanted to be the only one that was elevated, and we was elevating too, and we still in our home, you know what I'm saying? They still in their home, and I'm wishing him nothing but the best because I'm not the, you know what I'm saying, the angry person that tries to wish on other people downfall. Like I just don't understand it, but I could probably say vice versa for other people, and he's not the only one, you know what I'm saying? I don't have a lot of different little situations when it came to my husband and us elevating and God blessing us with things, and our family that was around us, not really for us, like for real, not really for us. They have shown it, and nobody ever apologizes. Nobody, you know, they just expect. We family. I get to say what I want to say, and you just got to deal with it. Like that's exactly how people act. That's how they act, and I'm not here for it. Me and my husband not here for it. We like I said, when I first moved in, I got these pictures that said family, but I want to change it to God because I I wanted to, you know, have everybody comfortable coming to his family, my family. I wanted everybody to be comfortable coming into my home, but I had to realize just because people are coming into your home, that don't mean they really for you. And it really showed. And the show, they will show their true colors. And now to this day, first we used to have a lot of people. We don't have people at our house no more. Nobody's coming trying to check for us. Nobody doing that. Our anniversary come, I barely get a happy anniversary. I know my husband don't. You know what I'm saying? Like people not really for us. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like with that being said, that should bring me and him closer together. And it just showed me not to focus on family, to focus on my family within my household and God. And that's it. Because humans, they show their true colors. You know, you can root for them, you can be for them, you can congratulate them, be genuinely happy for them. But when it's time for them to be happy for you, it's not the same. They honestly don't be happy for you. And so that was a little story time. I know my video kind of long, but I just had to, I was just thinking about, I was actually here sweeping and mopping and, pulling back chairs and just cleaning up the house and stuff like that. And I just, was having a little thought, let me come on here and give y'all a little story time of how my life, how my life has been and how it's going today, and just showing that people do change. You could be around them all the time, and they change. They're not genuinely happy for you. So, but that's not gonna change how I am. I had to realize that because I can't. People always say match energy. No, I ain't gonna match your energy. No, I'm not, because that'll change me and that'll change my heart, and God won't bless me the way that He's been blessing me. So I'm not gonna match your energy. I'm gonna let you have it, and I'm gonna continue to show up as me, as who I am. And if you accept me for who I am, you do. If you don't, you don't. And as long as you don't come to these 4 walls, you good. So that was my story time today, y'all. Y'all like, comment, and subscribe. Put God first. Always have God in your life. Always have God in your life. And y'all have a good day. Thank y'all.